Hey guys, Sean Bougie, surplusfundsriches.net. We're going to talk about life estate deeds. This is a big deal and it's becoming a bigger deal daily, primarily because of what this deed accomplishes. With a life estate deed, there is a life tenant and a remainder man. So the life tenant owns the property until they die. At their death, their entire interest in the property transfers to the remainder man. This is becoming more frequent, and the reason for that is people are buying property for their elder parents or someone else in the family, and they want to make sure that when that person dies, the property isn't divided among all the heirs and it comes back to them because they're the one that purchased it. So we're seeing more and more of this. How do you work this when you're working with claimants and surplus funds? And I'm going to touch on, if you're flipping property as well, there's four possible scenarios that impact the surplus funds or flip deal. These are: one, both the remainder man and the life tenant. Remember, life tenant is the one that owns the property right now. When they die, it goes to the remainder man. That's what it's called in most states. If both of them are still living, the life tenant and the remainder man, you can buy and flip the property only through or just through the life tenant without a sign off from the remainder man because the life tenant owns it. That's it. With surplus funds, it's different. Attorneys can use actuary tables to determine how much longer the life tenant would have lived and use that to come up with a split of the funds. In surplus, you'll need to work with both if they're both still alive and it's a life estate deed. You're going to need an attorney on that too, guys. Second option is the remainder man, the person that gets it when the life tenant dies, has passed away, but the life tenant is still alive. There's no issues with that, guys. The life tenant owns the property. You can flip the property through the life tenant. In other words, get them to sign off on the deed and work that. And you can retrieve the surplus funds with only the signature from the life tenant. You don't have to worry about the remainder man at all because at the time of the sale, the life tenant owed it completely and they hadn't passed away yet. The life tenant, there's a third option. The life tenant has passed away, but the remainder man's still alive. Okay, there's no issues with that one either. The property is transferred to the remainder man at the time of the life tenant's death. So if you're flipping property, all you got to deal with is a remainder man. The life tenant's already done. You're going to need to provide a death certificate, but you can typically get that through the remainder man. They're usually pretty close. As far as the surplus funds retrieval, it's similar. Okay, the life tenant has passed, the remainder man is still alive. The remainder man's, or rather the life tenant's interest passed to the remainder man, so you can just work with the remainder man. You're good. Now, here's where it gets crazy. Fourth option, both parties have passed away. This needs to be handled through probate. It comes down to the date of death. If the life tenant passed first, their interest passed to the remainder man at their death, so you'll be dealing with the heirs of the remainder man. Got me? Okay. If the remainder man passes first, this is going to come down to the state where you're working this. You may have to work with the life tenant's heirs or the life tenant, or both the heirs of the life tenant and the remainder man. And again, we typically tell people not to worry about going after heirs or estates unless you have a will or an executor of the probate. Hope this has helped, guys. I know a lot of you guys look at life estate deeds and you don't know what to make of them. It's easier than you think. It's ownership now, ownership later, and everything comes down to death.